I certainly would like to commend this association for giving us an opportunity to share with you the vision we have. We are elected to be the next chief executive of this city, a city that's in a very critical stage of its existence, a city that's facing difficult and dire circumstances. We don't have but 2 minutes, so we have to zero in. Let me introduce myself as the only person on this platform that served in municipal government when all the trash was being picked up. When the city of Selma could bury the loved ones of its citizens. When we had ample law enforcement patrolling our streets. When we turn in a budget every year in the black. When we had adequate fire protection as opposed to a situation now where the whole department is subject to a possible decertification because of excessive closing of fire stations. When the city council, for a 6-year period, voted 90% of the time in a unanimous manner, not bickering, coming together, debating, and resolving issues together. Don't tell me that the mayor and the council, that's 2 minutes?
Yeah, that's 15 minutes.
Oh, this Speedy
It
Gonzalez
goes.
night, isn't it? Well,
So
let's deal with it through questions.
We're going to start with the questions. And the first one is, with the problems of garbage in our city, what are your plans to revitalize the public works, cemetery departments, and code enforcement?
Uh, Let me just say we have to face the facts. These vital services have been gutted. The bottom line is that in order to deliver services, you have to have a sufficient personnel level. I went out to the cemetery one day. The supervisor and a worker. How in the world can we expect to deliver that service? 2 weeks ago, 3 law enforcement officers, the police chief, who should have been back in his office administering, and his assistant, and 1 regular officer patrolling this town. The bottom line is this: it's going to take a while to resuscitate every vital department in this city. But we cannot wait to clean up, to provide basic trash services. So to be honest with you, we're going to have to do what myself and others are doing right now, forming a volunteer group of citizens to organize in a big way, come together and work on this until the citizens have enough confidence in the governing officials that they're willing to consider some kind of way to bring in additional revenue. Until our citizens become believers in our government again, they're not going to trust us as stewards with resources. We have to face that. So consequently, we're going to have to make do with a massive civilian corps until the government, after 6 months, after a year, prove that we are indeed responsible in managing our fiscal resources, thereby requesting through town hall meetings that we consider as a city ways to bring in resources to revitalize all of our departments. It's not going to happen any other way.
Thank you. And the second question, how will you choose department heads to make sure that we get the most qualified people in those positions?
I will choose them deliberately, understanding that government has been ineffective for now 20 years. Again, the last time that we had functional government in Selma was between 1992 and 2000. Now, what does that mean? People are reading about these problems year in and year out. I ask you a question. How many qualified people are going to, we can have a search all over the nation, but how many qualified people are going to leave a job that's stable, that's paying well, to come to Selma and try to deal with our problems? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to answer that question. So the next chief executive must be very deliberate in trying to find qualified department heads. But let me let you in on a secret. That's going to be very difficult. So consequently, what must we do? We must again turn to the best minds in Selma, in finances, in education, in public sector, private sector, faith-based community. Bring them together, let them advise and work with the chief executive until we can finally bring our city official staff up to par. Salam and no other chief executive is going to come in with a magic wand. I would not challenge your intelligence with such a position. Going to come in, wave a wand, and automatically have good department heads. It took 20 years for us to get in this dismal state. Wonderful public officials, years of experience, arbitrarily run away. And we haven't garnered the knowledge on a department head basis since. Everybody now is a rookie in the job, making mistakes. We look up now, after all that years of disinformation, misinformation, all those years, with a city that's in chaos. That next chief executive better know what to look for in a department head. That next chief executive must not be one who sat around and saw good department heads run away. That next chief executive must not be one who had a great staff, but because of stubbornness and obstinacy and big-headedness, ran a lot of good people away. We don't want to hear this, but these are the essential factors of government on the ground.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Alrighty, number 3.